Hi people, it's Archivist here with another vlog video, and today I will be talking about Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Okay, so Advanced Warfare, the new Call of Duty that no one saw coming. Or, well, maybe they did. Okay, so I think before I start talking about Advanced Warfare, I should give my stance on the Call of Duty series as a whole, right? I began with Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, and I really enjoyed it. It was an excellent game. You know, the multiplayer was at the time revolutionary as opposed to now as it's become evolutionary. Really solid title, loved by pretty much everyone. Was one of the only games to really compete with Halo 3 at the time. Like, you know, people thought Halo 3 would dominate the FPS genre around that time, and just Modern Warfare came out of nowhere, and some people might even say dethroned it. And yeah, it was a great game. Then we had World at War. Excellent game. Because I hadn't played the previous games set in World War II, I loved this. I thought it was actually quite original, even though obviously it wasn't. Plus the campaign was excellent. All the weapons felt authentic. Actually, I would go as far as to say my favourite Call of Duty game to date. Then there was Modern Warfare 2, improved on some of the aspects of the multiplayer, brought with it a decent campaign that left itself on a cliffhanger. It was a good game. I couldn't fault Modern Warfare 2. It was a great game. Then we have Black Ops. I think on the console versions, the graphics were a bit worse, but there were some great concepts in there. I should also mention the zombies were pretty entertaining. I think some people really love zombies, but by this point I was kind of done with zombies. I did play them in later games, but I think Black Ops was where I stopped enjoying it because it felt like the same thing. But still, Black Ops was a decent game. And then we had Modern Warfare 3, which wasn't a bad game, but it was far too similar to Modern Warfare 2, and it felt more like an expansion pack. And I think Modern Warfare 3 is the reason we have such an anti-fan base to the Call of Duty series, because it felt like it was ripping people off, especially when you take into account that, at least in the UK, Call of Duty games are actually sold at a higher price than regular games because, well, they know they can get away with it. And then we had Black Ops 2, which I actually thought was a bit of a redemption for the series. I thought the story was excellent, actually, I'd go as far as to say. I can't comment too much on the multiplayer because I was a bit tired of it by this point, but it felt like it was doing some cool new things, and the graphics were much better than the original Black Ops. And then we had Ghosts, which I really did not like. I thought it was a step back for the series. I think it's more of a letdown because it was meant to be the next gen Call of Duty, and it didn't feel like that to me. So at the moment, at this point in time, I am a bit disillusioned with the Call of Duty series. I don't hate it, I just feel like it's becoming a bit redundant, especially as I've found Titanfall, which I personally think is actually just a better game. You know, it's got that solid shooting mechanic, but it's also improved on movement. When I went back to playing Ghost just to test what it felt like after playing Titanfall, it almost felt like I had a ball and chain around my legs, because the freedom is highly restricted. So that's how I feel about the series so far. Now, all we know really about Advanced Warfare so far is what we know from the trailer. I thought it was done quite well. Kevin Spacey's monologue, actually, I thought was quite effective, although it may be a little bit emotionally manipulative because they intentionally mentioned so many sensitive topics, at least sensitive in America, and I think that's intended to draw people in. It's a clever move, I guess you can't really fault them for it. And if they're going to go for that kind of Black Ops 2 vibe where they've really put an emphasis on the campaign, I definitely enjoy it, especially after what I consider to be the abysmal campaign story, whatever, in Ghosts. So I'd really enjoy that return to form, because Call of Duty has had great campaigns in the past. Maybe if they tone down the Michael Bay aspect kind of thing, with it's all well and good having great set pieces, but when you saturate it with nothing but them, they lose that kind of specialness. Also, I couldn't help but notice that the graphics do look nice. Don't get me wrong, they do look nice, but you have to keep in mind this is a trailer. It can be doctored, you don't know what they're taking it from. For example, sometimes studios do this, right? They'll say, oh, this is PlayStation 4 gameplay. But what they're actually doing is they're showing it to you on the computer that they use to develop it for the PS4. So sure, that's what they want it to look like, that's what their intention is. But there might be certain things that when it actually gets put onto the console, they have to make concessions for. I'm not saying that's going to happen here, but that's always something you have to keep in mind. But for now, my stance is simply this, right? Yes, you can't deny that the Call of Duty series has basically stagnated if you're not into the core mechanics. And if you're the kind of person that thinks the games have just become a glorified copy and paste job, you know what, I don't believe this is going to change your mind. They showed something in the trailer with a guy jumping really high with some enhanced leg augmentation. Now, yes, this could be in the actual gameplay, but well, you have to consider two things there. If it is, isn't that just a Titanfall ripoff? And secondly, it could just be part of a story element. You know, there's a part in the story where you get to use them, but then in the actual multiplayer, where you're spending the bulk of your time, there won't be anything of the sort, so you have to keep that in mind. But then again, if you really enjoy the series, because the mechanics are so similar game after game, I don't think Advanced Warfare will let you down. So if you're someone who's enjoyed all the games up until now, you know what, I think you'll enjoy this game. I really do. Especially if you like Black Ops 2, because it really does look like it's got a similar vibe to that. I guess the only pitfall is that if Sledgehammer really can't handle developing their own game, they might have got some experience for their work in Modern Warfare 3, but you never know, they might just, by themselves lay fall flat and make something that's buggy and rubbish. So these were my first impressions of Advanced Warfare. As always people, thanks very much for watching and see you next time.